This question appeared on a video about how to print in Google Chrome using Selenium for Excel VBA. And what Jonathan wanted to know was if it was possible to take a full-size screenshot of a web page and save it as a JPEG. Well, it's certainly possible to take screenshots using Selenium, and to demonstrate how that works, I've got a basic Excel workbook saved in a folder. It's got nothing in the workbook itself, other than the empty worksheet. And then in the Visual Basic editor, I've created a basic routine to launch a new instance of Chrome and browse to the Wise Owl homepage. So if we quickly run that one to see what happens, that's what we end up with. And using that, let's take a quick look at how the basic screenshot feature works. Capturing a screenshot with Selenium is actually pretty straightforward. If we refer to our Chrome driver object and then look for the TakeScreenshot method, if we want to save that screenshot as a file, we can then apply the SaveAs method to the result of TakeScreenshot. The SaveAs method has a single required parameter, which is the file path in which you're going to store the captured image. Let's call this one, well, let's save this in the same folder that this workbook is stored in. I'll say this workbook.path, and then concatenate to the end of that, backslash, let's call it pick1. I'm going to provide an extension there. Jonathan was asking about JPEG images, so let's add JPG to the end. And then we can close the double quotes. So at the moment, there won't be any files saved alongside our workbook in the same folder yet. But if we run our subroutine at this point, the web page opens up and we've grabbed a screenshot. There's no indication that that's worked other than by going back to the folder in which you expect to find your file. And there indeed is the pick1 object. Give that a quick double click to check what's in there. And it's just an image of whatever we could see in that web page, in that browser window at the point the screenshot was taken. Now, in the original question, Jonathan was asking about a full-size screenshot, and you'll notice, of course, that when we've opened up our web browser, it's opened up in a restored window, so our screenshot reflects what's visible in that window at the time. There are several different ways we can make our Chrome browser window open up maximized. We've got a video actually which explains how to do that. It's part of the same playlist that this video is in. So how do you open Google Chrome in full screen mode? So just to explain how that works, a quick little recap, we've got a few different options. One fairly simple way would be, before we take our screenshot, we could apply the maximize method to the window object of the Chrome driver. So we say cd.window.maximize, and then take the screenshot. We'll see something different. Let's just close down the image, and then we'll close down the previous instance of Google Chrome there. And then if we run the code again, we've got the browser window maximized this time, of course. And if we take a look at our pick1 object in the same folder, there we go. We've got a maximized screenshot as well. That's probably the easiest way to do it, but there is another option, of course. If I just close down that browser and close down the image, if I head back to the code, rather than maximizing the window after it's been opened, you could add an argument to the Chrome driver object before it's opened. So we can say cd.addArgument. And then in some double quotes, we can say start-maximized. Okay, so just to run that one again, we'll see that it opens up maximized this time rather than the window maximizing after it's been opened. And of course, the screenshot, as you'd expect, looks the same. It's probably worthwhile quickly mentioning that JPEG isn't the only supported file type. If you wanted to see what other file types you could use the object browser to look up the TakeScreenshot method of the Chrome driver object, and then you'll find that the result of that method returns an image object. If I click on the link to image, I can see that there's a SaveAs method in there, which is what we've been using. And in the SaveAs method, the little bit of help there at the bottom explains the 4 file types you're allowed to use. So let's say we wanted a PNG file rather than a JPEG. To do that, all we've got to do, of course, is change the extension at the end. So change PNG from JPG, and then run the code again. And this time we'll end up in our output folder with a pick1 PNG file, which kind of looks basically the same as you'd expect. But there we go. So 4 different file types supported by this technique. Now, there is one other feature of the TakeScreenshot method that I thought was quickly worth mentioning at the end of the video, and that's the ability to take a screenshot of an individual element on the page. But there is a little bit of a gotcha with this, which I thought was quickly worth explaining. So let's say I wanted to take a screenshot of this object which is displaying these various different images. To do that, I need to be able to identify what that object is. We've got several videos which explain how to do this, so just very quickly I'm going to right-click on the object, choose Inspect, and then I might just need to quickly do that again. And then in the Elements list in this menu on the right-hand side, if I scroll up, I can find that that object is called Cycler. It's got an ID value attached to the div element, so ID Cycler. Now that I know what that object is, I can identify it and reference it in my code, and then take a screenshot of just that object. So let's head back to the Visual Basic Editor. Let's comment out the screenshot of the entire page, and let's say cd dot, and then I'm going to find element. I've got several ways I can do this. I'm going to do by CSS, and then in some round brackets and double quotes, I'm going to refer to my ID by using a hashtag, and then cycler. And then I'm going to refer to the TakeScreenshot method. And then I'm going to use the SaveAs method on that. And again, let's just quickly copy and paste the path there. I'm going to say this workbook.path, and we'll call this one pic2, and I'll go back to a JPEG for this example. Okay, so at that point, I'm going to close down the previous instance of the browser first, and I'm then going to run this subroutine and find, if we get back to our output folder, yeah, we've got a pic2. And if I double click to open that up, you can see that it's not quite worked exactly as we wanted. The size of the image is sort of about the same size as the picture object, but it's not quite picked up the correct top left-hand corner of the image. It's sort of offset quite some way. Now the reason for this, if I just close down the picture and close down the browser, is that on this particular screen, I'm currently scaled to 125%. If I just very quickly have a look in display settings, you can see that this screen is 125%. If I switch that back down to 100% and then head back to the same code and then just run it again, and then have a look in the output, then this time I've got exactly what I want. So just one quick thing to be wary of if you're trying to apply the TakeScreenshot method to specific objects on a page, try to make sure you're working in 100% screen scaling mode. Anyway, I hope that's enough to answer the question that Jonathan had originally. I hope you found that one useful. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time.